Hello. Welcome back to Kevin's Garage. Today we are going to be playing some Jinx in the bot lane. Uh, Kind of a rough game this one. I started off doing poorly. I've been trying out Jinx recently. Uh, you know, because I like her playstyle. I like the fact that when you get a kill, you can speed up, and that's like really fun chasing and all of that. But I did start off kind of rough, as you'll see. Later on in the game, I did start, racking up the damage as Jinx does. Uh, I really have to start learning how to, build better because I kind of just go off the recommended tab a lot of times, and I want to start learning how to build. But iron player knowledge, I will get better at that though. But so today I want to talk about some sort of weird topic, which might sound a bit strange right now as I'm saying it, but I feel as if my childhood was AI generated. And of course, I'm like not serious about that. But like, just to give a little analogy here, if you've ever watched Ghost in the Shell, the 97 one, was it 97? I think it was 97. The Ghost in the Shell 1997 movie. Uh, the character of Commander, I think that's what they named her, but the main character struggles basically to like find out if the memories that she had from her past are actually true. I don't have that issue because I have a different issue, and it's the fact that I don't even know where my memories went, to be honest, because I struggle to find any recollection of my past memories from when I was a child. And I've joked around about this with my girlfriend of like, you basically didn't have a childhood. You were AI generated. And I don't, I truly can't explain how, like, that happened, that I struggle so much to find any recollection of memories when I was a child. So, up until even now, it's still starting to get foggy, and I can barely even remember eighth grade, which was what, 4 years, like 2019. I'm struggling to remember anything that happened in eighth grade, any memories from that, any memories from seventh grade or sixth. Uh, like the one thing I remember is like this weird kid that did some stuff in class. He jorkled his bong bong, if you get what I mean. Uh, but I can't really remember anything from that. And I was researching that, and it was talking about the fact that for stuff to really ingrain in your memory, it has to have a lot of, not a lot, but it has to have emotional connection of some sort, like a emotional value. And the thing I noticed was that as a child, I was pretty inept with my social, not so, with my emotional scape. uh I was never really emotionally connected to things because for the most part, and I'm so blessed with this, I'm not even complaining about this, for the most part I've been on basically an autopilot of happiness. And I I basically struggle to feel other emotions, which I guess is its own problem. But I either feel neutral or feel happy, and I don't really cry at real life situations and stuff. And like the only things I cry at are for movies. Like I literally cried for Thor: Love and Thunder, and say what you will, that movie was fire. I loved it. Everyone agrees it was trash. Not me. I don't agree with the everyone. And basically, I have always struggled with feeling emotion towards things, and I feel like that's the core reason for why I have found it hard to remember things from my past because it was all just kind of a blank slate of happiness. And that is not a bad thing. But I also can't remember extreme joy, right? In the sense of like, oh, I got a new toy for Christmas. I'm extremely happy. When I was a kid, I was just happy. So I genuinely could not tell you a single toy that I got for Christmas. I remember playing with toys. I remember having favorite toys. But a toy for Christmas, I cannot remember it. Right? And I don't know why that is. I'm now starting to I'm now starting to form more memories as a whole. And that's a good thing. And I think for the most part, it's because of my girlfriend. And she's kind of cracked that shell that I've always had. And it wasn't a shell that I made, like it wasn't like an emotional trauma shell or something like that. But it was definitely, I guess I was always scared of tapping into my emotions, even as a child. And I truly could not tell you why. So, I don't know, that's all it, and it sucks now because I don't have much recollection of my memories from the past. It's just hard for me to find any moments in my past where I'm like, wow, that moment was amazing, or wow, that moment sucked, or wow, that was horrible. I do have a few moments like that where I did feel extreme emotion, and I talked to my girlfriend about this and stuff. She knows all those moments, but no one else really does. And I don't care to have others really know, because I feel as if it would bring others down. And I don't know. But I guess that feeling of not wanting to tell others is also a key factor in me not forming memories. But I've also just been literally so fortunate as to not feel extreme sadness, in a sense. And what was I gonna say? Okay. This feeling of not remembering is not the worst thing in the world. I'm not gonna lie to you here and say it's the worst thing in the world. But it really does suck because you don't know if what happened in the past was really important, and it was, because what happens in the past is what shapes you now. But at the same time, I do remember learning my lessons from the past, right? I do remember my memories only come from when I learn a lesson. And I wish it didn't have to be that way, because I want to remember the happy places where I didn't have to remember a lesson. But what can you do, So that's why I joke around that I was AI generated. So now I wanna talk about Ghost in the Shell and that, issue of being AI generated, because if in the movie Ghost in the Shell, we basically touch on the theme of what if humans and society gets to the point in which we can make robot brains, right? This will now lead us into the issue that is, does the soul come from a spiritual force that is designated to humans, or does the soul come from the brain? And if the soul comes from a brain, does that mean that a robot brain can get a soul, right? So let's let's roll with the latter half of that argument, right? That the brain of a robot can eventually get a soul because the soul is the brain, right? Humans have a soul because they have a brain, right? If we talk about that, this leads us to the rights of robots that we'll have to face in the future with the ever evolving state of AI, right? So basically, if let's say you have a robot made in the year 2079, where you're a robot made, and she has a full human brain as to replicate human emotions so that the robot doesn't seem as like weird, and that's the way we invented it, right? So that it doesn't seem weird. If we were to do that, would you basically be doing human slavery because they gain a soul right after? You gotta I mean here? If the soul is directly connected to the brain and we have an ability to perfectly replicate the human brain through technology, does that mean that there is a way to perfectly replicate a human soul? And no other species, no other like mammal, human, anything has a human soul. That's why it's human. Now you could, of course, animals have emotions, animals have feelings, but they're not truly conscious of what they're doing. They feel out of their basic genetic feelings. So like pain equals sadness and hurt, or pain equals anger, fear equals sadness, stuff like that, right? And you basically, that's basically all the animals do, right? And you know, machines won't be like animals, especially when we specifically code them to have the emotion and the headspace of humans, as you know, so that we can make their services more like what would you say, right? By basically making them more human, we are tapping into that like connection between humans and robots that won't make it as awkward, of like what is it called, the Silicon Valley effect, or the, is it that, I forgot, but that Silicon Valley effect is what I'm gonna call it for now. But you know what I mean, right? The like the thing that is slightly not human. It's fully human, but it just has that slightly not human feeling to it. So we're gonna remove that, is what I think. Eventually with AI, we're gonna remove that from robots, and we're gonna make them feel like they're fully human. But what is stopping those robots from now gaining a human soul? You know what I mean? Those robots will now have a human soul if those fully functioning brains start working, right? What would now be the considered issue if there were to be human brains inside of robots? Are those robots human? Right? Even though their brain and their body is fully mechanical, are they human because they have an inherent soul to them now? Right? Or are, what was I gonna say here? Man, I really need to start scripting these, but I think it's way better when I don't script them. Right? Is, holy shit, Thresh diff. Oh, by the way, let me comment on the game really quick. I got some pretty nasty clips there with the double rocket on Kaisa when I knew she was gonna push up on me. Also, this was an absolutely stupid battle. I should have flashed somewhere and tried to evade her bullets, but we did 1-1. Jinx is super fun. I love her damage. I don't really know how to combo her Q too well. I know you max it out first, but I don't know why, because the rocket isn't the I don't know. I feel like the rocket isn't as useful except for like wave clear, of course. I'm probably gonna research that as to why people max out the rocket first. I mean, it probably gives you auto damage as well. But yeah, so that's what I was saying. The dilemma occurs now that when we give these human brains to robots, are they still robots or are they now just humans? And the fact that we have them as work slaves, do we have humans as work slaves? Because now we would be eliminating thousands of years of history that we fought for liberty of others, right? Like, would we, like, what type of society would be to just enslave people again so much in the future like that, you know? Within the issue, there's also, you know, the devil's advocate of, are they people? No, because they're fully machine made, right? But can that brain gain a soul? And if it can, then that does mean that they're fully human, because a soul makes you human. Because no other thing on this planet has a soul except humans. And I'm not going to touch on the religious aspect of this, of the soul being religiously tied. I'm just going to talk about the human aspect of this, right? Does the fact that we would use machines with human souls in them, or I guess it would be machine souls now, but a soul is a soul nonetheless, right? Would that be problematic? And I think it would be, right? I think it would be super problematic. So that's just some food for thought. Then there's also the issue of, it's not really an issue. This would actually be the positive side. If the soul is something external from the brain and it's something that only humans can feel because we inherently have a soul, right? See, that would be the positive side. Now, I believe that we basically wouldn't have an issue if the soul was externally from the human body, because robots would just be robots and just that. And even though they would fully mimic the human emotions, the human feelings, they're not really feeling it because they don't have a soul to feel it. But in that sense, I don't think that's not really much of a conversation. It would just be weirdly human robots. But then that leads us back to the uncanny valley. I think that's what it's called, man. I can't remember. Is it the uncanny valley? I think it is that. But that would lead us to the issue of the uncanny valley and the sense of these robots are not all there, you know, they're not fully human because they're trying to they just fully mimic humans, but mimicking gives the best effect of uncanny valley. When you mimic something, that's when you're fully like, oh, like, damn, like this is just weird, you know? Like it's just a weird thing that we're trying to like fully replicate these humans. I mean, yeah, we're trying to replicate humans and machines. So I don't know, that's just something interesting to think about, and that's mainly what I wanted to talk about today, and especially that with like my memories and being AI generated. You know, let's just get into the conspiracy here. What if I am AI generated? You know, what is there to say that I'm not? What proof do I have that the memories that I gained as a child weren't implanted into me? Now, I'm not a crazy bastard, and I do believe that I had a childhood, especially with all the pictures that my parents had and stuff like that, and all the slight things I do remember happening, that I remember so vividly happening, right? I remember, let's see. Actually, I had this one time where I gained a memory of when I was like 3 years old, which is like, your memories aren't developed by that point. But I gained it through a dream, and it was of this surfboard, a blue, yellow surfboard with a floral pattern on it. Because when I was born in Cuba and I came to America when I was 5, and I asked my parents about the surfboard, which I had never asked them before and they had never told me about before, and it existed. That surfboard did exist. So that was just a crazy moment, another Matrix theory there. Uh, but yeah, that was really cool. I wonder the science behind that. Like, how come I remember something when I was 3 when I didn't even have like a fully developed memory brain? So yeah, it's just something cool to think about. What was I gonna say? Sorry, I got distracted by the gameplay here. Uh, we are just playing like an absolute team. You love to see it. The Jinx, when you pop off like this with Jinx and everyone's running away from you, and you just know they can't run away from you because you get that insane speed boost, it's just super fun. But yeah, I just think that I might have been AI generated. I don't actually think that, by the way. That's just me joshing you. But if there's one thing I want you to take away from this video is I want you to think about the fact that what I want you to think about something that makes you feel truly human today. Even if it's sadness or happiness, I want you to feel that emotion that makes you feel human and be grateful for that. Because to be human is an amazing thing. To be human is to feel. To be human is to love. And that's the only thing we got, truly, is to love and to feel, to hate, to be sad. And there is nothing more inherently human than feelings. So you need to always try your hardest to feel, right? Don't bottle up your emotions. Talk about it with someone. You'll feel so human, for lack of a better word. You will feel a part of a community, and that is the community of humanity. And just let it out every once in a while. Just talk about it. Crack jokes. Tell that girl you love them. Go out with someone. Just be a good friend. Try your hardest every day. And just give it your all in life. Because we only live once. And damn it, if I'm AI generated, I will live happy as AI. I will live glad knowing that I gave it my all. Even though I'm a robot, even though I was predetermined to feel like this, I want to feel in control. And that's a really important thing. Feel in control of your own life. Feel power over your own life. Don't let anyone else dictate anything for you, ever. Do what you want to do, because that is the only thing we can do. Even if you are struggling, if you are feeling down, if you're being put down by life, you need to give it your all. You are not alone. Even though it can feel alone sometimes, it can feel slow, you are not alone. You can truly speak to most people and they will understand you, because the human experience is one shared by all. Some people will have it better than you, and some people will have it millions of times worse than you. But they will understand what it is like to feel sadness, what it is like to feel hurt, what it is like to feel love. Because that is human. That is the feeling of being human. And that is a great feeling to have. Because when we feel human, we are fully there. We are in touch with nature. We are in touch with our true selves. And however you feel whatever you feel human means, I want you to feel it. If you believe it in a religious aspect, that being human is being in touch with God, then feel in touch with God. If you feel that being human is being primal with nature, is being there with nature, I want you to feel with that nature. I want you to be with nature. If you feel that being human is the connections with friends, then I want you to feel that as well. So yeah, that was my daily vlog for today of August 3rd. Love you. Bye bye. Enjoy the rest of your day.